On the pace and parade lap, so we want to bring you the carparts.com starting grid for the Formula Atlantics, and the Valvoline Max starting grid for the Formula Atlantics. Coming at you, Larry Connor. We heard Cal talk about how quick he's been. Brian French, the defending champion, so fast. Paul Lecane and Keith Lively, both very impressive in qualifying. Then in our next couple of rows, Chris Kaiser has bought the car that Steve Ford took to 2 national championships, and Mark Rodriguez back with that very fast Mazda-powered Ralt. And we're seeing that, Dorsey, in this category. The pro category, it's all Toyota, but there's some mixing and matching going on. And David Vandenberg, an old Ralt RT4 with a very unique roll cage, and he's running awfully fast.
Most of these cars, you see the RT41s are pro cars. They are, in fact, the same that you run the Toyota Atlantic Series, and they run a 1600cc double overhead cam 4-valve Toyota. But we have a Mazda in there, and you could run an old Ford Cosworth like I used to if you wanted to. Most guys don't, because obviously it's not quite as competitive. Single seat open wheel cars with wings, a lot of downforce here. They got big tires. The temperature, as Calvin said, is going to be a big factor because they're relatively harder compounds, and you're going to have to get some temps in them. But these cars are the fastest cars about anywhere through a corner. They make big downforce.
We also are going to take a look at our onboard camera. It should be a good one. Paul Lecane from Sandown, New Hampshire, runs out of the Northeastern Division. There he is, number 90 in the Goodyear Valvoline Ralt RT41. Now, keep in mind, of course, that these cars also have ground effects where they have all of that extra grip, which has got to help right now in these cool conditions. Let's quickly take you back, show you our carparts.com GT1 provisional results from that last race. And once again, Jeff Irvin doing the job, putting it together, and took the win. Tim Cowan, boy, it was an interesting race for him. He fought back to second. Jack Bush holding on for third. Rob Giorgi in the old Tommy Bahamas car that
Chris Neville
actually took a couple of wins with. There's the rest of the starting field. And of course, there's your story, Cliff Evan. Who knows what may have happened if Evan had been able to stay with that one and put it together. We won't know for a while now. But meanwhile, here we come. The Atlantic cars, Calvin, are coming out of turn 1, heading up into the chicane. This is a category you are so closely associated with, winning the Pro Championship in '87 and here at Mid-Ohio.
That's right, Greg, and just want to give you an update on Larry Connor. I mean, he has a lot of experience down in his crew. He's got Lee Hagan, who won the '85 Super V Championship with Kenny Johnson. He had Tom Knapp here last week. He's the guy who won the IRL Championship with Greg Ray, setting up the car for him. So that car is dialed in, but as always, cold conditions, he's got to be careful in the opening laps.
And you mentioned, of course, Greg Ray won the national championship and went on to do fairly well at a big track in Indianapolis.
Boy, they're going quick, Greg.
Oh, big, and only those front couple rows are lined up.
They're not lined up.
No, green! We're green anyway. Connor to the inside, French outside.
Awesome break.
Oh, look at Brian French trying it around the outside, and no, not going to happen. Connor takes it. Keith Lively had to give way too. We're on board with Lecane. Sits in third. Right behind him is Keith Lively.
Well, because of the downforce on these cars, and the guys are probably running a lot of wing in the car right now, they will stop incredibly well. We'll see when they get up to speed this next lap, you won't believe where these guys can stop.
Connor's pole a 120.7, French next at a 122.1. So obviously Connor is fast. French with those preheated tires, but they sat a while on that pre-grid. Some of that heat had to have dissipated.
80 degrees wasn't all that much heat. You're right, it did. It might have been a little help, but it won't be after a lap or two. These guys, I drove in these cars, Greg, 6 times at the runoffs, and there's nothing faster in the corners than these cars are.
Well, you got the ground effects tunnels underneath, literally creating that suction, plus the wings. And again, with the temperatures here, that's got to be great help to be able to just crank in more wing, get some more heat in the tire if you want it.
Yeah, I would think everybody's opted for a lot of downforce in the car on their setup so that they'll get the grip that they need. They don't have to worry about the straightaway speed so much. But look at the lead already developing.
So if somebody had gone brave here and really trimmed the car out a little bit and was willing to be able to hang on to it, that could be very interesting.
Well, the thing with Mid-Ohio is you can't really trim it too much because there's too many corners here. It's a neat track from that standpoint. You got long straightaways where you need to go fast, but there's equal amount of corners where you have to be fast.
And already Larry O'Connor is opening up a little bit, then French, then Lecane, Lively, and oh, big lockup from Lecane, and right there, big move by Chris Kaiser, but he decided to wait, discretion being the better part of valor, and he will fight again here in just a little bit. We'll be right back for our final championship.
You see a lot of gas additives on the road today, but you can pass them by when you choose new 104 Plus Octane Boost with Acceleron. Our new Acceleron technology delivers power and performance to any vehicle, old or new. Just one bottle boosts octane effect, cleans engine parts, and improves miles per gallon, safely with long-lasting results. Get a kick out of driving. Get new 104 Plus Octane Boost with Acceleron.
Briefcase.
Need new tires? Our 35,000-mile tires are 4 for just 99 bucks. Pep Boys, one more reason cars like us, people love us.
Dad lost his hair early. When I started losing mine, I checked it out with a dermatologist, and he said Rogaine. It's 2 years later now, and I don't see any difference. Doc was right. You can keep the hair you have with Rogaine.
The Lost Drive-In speeds you back to a groovalicious era of hot rod chicks,
How's this?
gunslinging rock and roll, and spooky special effects.
You making any sense out of this?
It's the Ghost of Dragstrip Hollow at next Saturday night's Undead special feature.
Today's live coverage of the third and final day of the Valvoline Runoffs is being brought to you by Valvoline Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines, and by new 104 Plus Octane Boost with Acceleron Power. On board with Paul LeCain, and Dorsey's given us a great view, and he is not letting Brian French get away.
Now, listen to this engine when he gets on board next time, because these guys are pulling these Toyotas to almost 10,000 revs.
Fighting up and onto that front straight one more time, and by Sandy Hang down in what is a very cold pit lane.
Well, the 88 car, Mark Rodriguez, came in. It looks like the intake was icing up. They did a little work on it, and it's back out, and he has reported back to his crew that it is now running almost fine, but not quite 100%.
Temperatures affecting everything here this weekend.
Well, these are fuel-injected cars, but the butterflies can definitely freeze open because of the fuel around them. And I'll tell you what, these guys, like I said, these little motors are tweaky. They're really running a lot of RPM, 9,800 or so. Some guys will push them over 10,000.
Well, and Paul LeCain continues to give chase here to Brian French. Calvin, back for second. Very good.
It really is, and the thing was, Brian French really needed to get the good start and try and get the jump on Connor, but he didn't make that happen. He had that tire temperature, not a lot, but it should certainly have helped in the early laps. But I just spoke to the crew on Connor's car. They said we made a few changes, not too much more downforce, Dorsey, just a slight increase in aero, but they did change to a softer compound front tire and change the shocks a little bit, but they run an incredibly stiff setup on this car. 1,750-pound rear springs. It really makes the car dance around, particularly under these cool track conditions.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a lot of spring for a car like this. It's more like a go-kart setup, but it helps the car turn in really quickly. There's no question about that. And the softer compound in the front helps turn in as well. Right on board. Now listen to this engine whine.
Boy, revving so high, it's actually affecting the onboard a little bit. That is unbelievable, the revs that these cars generate.
Yeah, they do a lot of RPM and get a lot of power up there on the top end. There's no question about that.
You know, Calvin talked about Brian French a little bit earlier in the show. One of the things that Brian does, he loves his vintage racing, and it's nice to be able to afford that hobby, and Brian is doing it in class. He bought the 1993. LeCain, our camera car, suddenly, he must have gone to 10,001 revs.
Well, listen now.
Oh, something.
It's running.
But something does not sound right at all.
Now, hear it? Hear that?
Is that maybe gearbox?
No, it's not gearbox. I think he's got a busted valve. Hear that?
Yeah.
That's not supposed to sound that way. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't drive it if it had a valve problem. So these are 4-valve motors.
Well, right now, Paul LeCain simply trying to get that car back into the pits. That should move up Keith Lively up into the third spot, champion of the Northern Pacific Division out of San Francisco, California. 5 laps of 20 done.
Watch closely.
This amazing titanium tip drill bit is actually moving sideways to do what no other drill bit could ever do. It's yours when you put the power of titanium in your hands with Titan Master XL. The amazing new titanium tip drill bits that are so strong they'll never wear out. Guaranteed. Titan Master XL drill bits fit any drill, and their titanium tips give them the indestructible power to cut through virtually any surface. When you order your Titan Master XL drill set, you'll get 17 titanium tip drill bits of all sizes. Use them on wood, masonry, drywall, metal, you name the job, and Titan Master XL has it covered. You'll also receive the amazing Titan Master XL drill saw that turns any drill into a multi-function saw. The drill saw can be moved from side to side to turn small holes into big ones, smooth out squares and rectangles, cut straight line openings, and even sever materials in half. And you can turn your drill into a screwdriver with this Titan Master XL converter, which includes 6 flat and Phillips head screwdriver bits. Plus, you'll never have trouble finding the right size drill bit because the Titan Master XL drill set comes complete with this handy carrying case. And now, the Titan Master XL drill set can be yours for only $19.95. Call in the next 10 minutes, and we'll also include this complete set of 300 screws and fasteners of all sizes. The Titan Master XL drill set is so indestructible, it's backed by a lifetime warranty. If any of the drill bits ever break, we'll replace them absolutely free. You get 17 titanium tip drill bits, the titanium drill saw, screwdriver converter, 6 screwdriver bits, 300 screws and fasteners, and heavy-duty carrying case. That's 325 pieces in all for only $19.95. Order now.
To order your set of Titan Master XL drill bits, have your credit card ready and call toll-free 1-800-941-8200 or send check or money order for $19.95 plus $6.95 shipping and handling to Titan Master, 6960 Eastgate Boulevard, Lebanon, Tennessee, or call 1-800-941-8200.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio, where the battle for third is on, and that's Chris Kaiser down to the inside of Keith Lively. Lively, the blue car, on the outside, and they've swapped positions on and off here a couple of laps. And the battle continues, and Kaiser makes that pass stick. Now that car, as I said, the one that just made the pass, Steve Forer drove that car a few years ago and took it to 2 national championships. It's pretty well sorted.
Pretty good old car, really. You don't see these cars. And one of the bad things about this class is that each year they make a new car, and sometimes it obsoletes the year before. And so the older cars sometimes don't have as good a chance. This one's working very well.
Very well. He's gone around Lively. Right there is Keith Lively now. And as I mentioned, Lively out of San Francisco, Kaiser out of Abbottstown, Pennsylvania, and he was only 4th in the Northeastern Division, but obviously the competition was pretty strong.
Right behind them is Bernie Sunier, and he's in a Swift, which is definitely not the right car to be. Right there's the red car. Bernie Sunier has raced these cars back to when I used to race them. I used to have some really good tough stuff.
And he's still, I mean, he's not that far off. He's doing a great job in that older chassis. There's Lively, and you can see the margin that Kaiser has opened up pretty quickly once he got around Lively. Up front, it continues to be Connor leading from French. There's, you just saw French about midway down the back straight here, and Connor up in the S's already. Kaiser just screaming down that back straight, and of course Lively doing anything he can right now to try and stay close. It looks like Sunnier might be closing in on Lively a little bit here.
Bernie doing a good run for himself, like you say. It's not the right car. It's not as good a car as these guys have underneath them. And in this class, there's no driver in the world that's going to overcome the deficit of the technology that these cars possess. Is awesome. These are like little Formula 1 cars.
Right. Well, the thing with the Swift, I remember it was Greg Ray, as a matter of fact, the year before it was the year he won the national championship. He entered his Swift up against the Ralt, the RT40s and the 41s at Milwaukee on the mile. The Swift, compared to the Ralt, didn't make anywhere near the ground force or the downforce, the ground effects, but it was incredibly slippery. As a result, Ray entered it at Milwaukee, put it on pole, and led a good chunk of the race until I think he had a gearbox problem or whatever. But those Swifts in a straight line are still quick. It's just that when they get to the corner, they have to brake sooner, and they can't get through the corners anywhere near as quick as these Ralts. Right there at number 33, that's Knox. He is also running an older Swift chassis.
Yeah, doing a good account of that, too. Those two having a good tussle.
Yeah, Norman Fox, the Fox Auto Parts Swift DB4. And the guy he's chasing right there is Kenny Swede.
Ultimately, that is what took me out of Formula Atlantic racing, was the fact that I ran in the old flat bottom days, and when the ground effect car came out, it obsoleted the car I had, and I didn't have the money to buy another one.
No.
So that took me out of that.
So you ended up moving along, winning a Trans Am championship and an IMSA championship.
So all things are for a reason. These
That's
three guys
right.
having a really good run right now.
Yeah, up behind Fox now comes a very persistent.
On the outside, he makes it stick.
Gary Machiko, nice pass.
Really good pass.
Oh, excuse me, that's Connor. That's Connor lapping.
Yeah,
I thought it was. I looked at the monitor for a second. Calvin, Connor is absolutely hooked up.
He's flying, Greg, and one of the things that the competitors were saying all week long, that he had great straightaway speed, and this year he's changed from injection over to carburation, and that allows him a 50-pound weight break, which is obviously a bonus, but more importantly, he says on the dyno, they're seeing about 8 or 9 more horsepower. Arnie Loining does the engines and does a great job. He has a great history of great motors in Ford and Sports 2000 and stuff, and certainly some good Atlantic motors over the year. He did Jimmy Vasser way back in the early 90s, so he's got some horsepower, he's got less weight, and he's got a flying machine underneath him.
He's got a flying machine, and he's the pilot right now, doing an incredible job. One thing about the injection, although you have to drive a heavier car and it's a little less horsepower, it broadens the torque band. Some of the drivers prefer that. O'Connor's making use of raw power.
Are you one of the millions of American males who would like increased sexual energy? If you've been considering Viagra as a solution, consider something different. All-natural Enerx. Clinical studies show various ingredients of Enerx enhance sexual energy, increasing desire, performance, and satisfaction. Enerx is all natural with no side effects. With Enerx, you'll feel the increased energy within minutes and with no chemicals. We're so sure you and your mate will be completely satisfied. We'll offer you a 30-day, no questions asked, full refund. Enerx stimulates sexual energy by expanding the blood vessels, causing increased blood flow to specific areas of the body. Unleash the power of Enerx now.
Call 1-800-442-4226 in the next 10 minutes and find how you can save 30% off retail price. Take advantage of our special TV offer. Call 1-800-442-4226.
Next weekend, fasten your seatbelts. Speed Vision wants to take you for a ride. First, SCCA Trans Am bangs into action with Cobras and Corvettes. Then Audi's fleet turns up the heat as the American Le Mans tradition continues at Laguna Seca, only on Speed Vision.
Put the food down, walk away, nobody gets hurt.
Let's get him! Yeah! I got him!
Think you're tough enough to drive a Tacoma?
Give me back!
Join the club. Introducing the double cab with over 5 feet of bed length.
You just can't mess with a man's salad.
Word up.
At the beginning of the race weekend here in Central Ohio, the Richland County community goes out of its way to welcome the racers, crews, and fans to the area. When the Runoffs first came to Mid-Ohio in 1994, the community looked at the event's previous 24-year history at Road Atlanta and saw an event with a long-term future.
The group that puts this together is a Richland SCCA committee. It was formed 6 years ago to make sure that we pay attention to this group when they come in. It's got leaders from across the county, from different cities, from different economic development agencies. Our organization coordinates things, and the biggest thing is everybody has a lot of fun doing it.
The Runoffs are the final event of the half dozen that visit Mid-Ohio each year, and according to Lee Tassif, they have saved the best for last.
On a whole, and there's some 4,000 folks that come in, members, volunteers, drivers, crews, that we see on a regular basis that say thank you more than any other group, a higher percentage than any other group that we've ever dealt with. Those kind of things go a long way. When people give it their time and money to put on the things that we do, we enjoy it that much more. And they come to the booth and tell us that. They come up to us in the dinner. They come up to us when they're getting their tickets and say thank you. We look forward to coming here next year. Those things make all the difference in the world to the people that put this on.
And they do a stellar job, and I have been to that party in that Fairhaven Hall, and it is a blast. They serve you an incredible meal all the volunteers who are part of this, Dorsey, and then they have some great music and dancing and partying. And really, since it's come here, as he said, this community has really taken this event and made it a very special happening for the entire area.
Well, this Valvoline Runoffs, let's not get it wrong, brings in a lot of revenue to this area too. All the hotels are full, all the restaurants are full every night. You know, this we get a big crowd here. This is a big event. It's the biggest road race there is in the world.
And there's your leader, Larry Connor, who just continues to uncork some brilliant laps. There's Brian French, number 45 in the Motorsports Enterprises role, sits in second. Connor driving Connor and Murphy Limited role. Both of them 41s, and they have things pretty much their own way right now. Brian French, a very colorful car. He's a very colorful character heading down in the Milwaukee region from Central Division. Sits in second. He just doesn't have an answer right now for Connor, who is absolutely hooked up. As Calvin said, it's almost a plane right now, and Connor's doing a great job.
That combination that they use and the horsepower he must have. You were talking about the torque band on a injected motor. It makes it a little easier to drive off corners, but these cars have a lot of grip, and sometimes with big carburation, you know, you can target a specific RPM band, top end for instance, and really make big power.
Well, and at the same time, we're talking temperatures in the low 40s. Generally, engines like that in terms of power, and with the carburetors, it's probably even more effective. Isn't it?
Well, that, and also you know, we talk about the 50 pounds. 50 pounds doesn't sound like much, but these cars don't weigh much. You get the driver out of that car, it's probably 1,200 pounds. So 50 pounds on a percentage scale is a big percentage.
Yeah, that's almost 5% of the car's weight right there, and that's very significant, particularly when you're talking a car that's 240, 250 horsepower. That's a big percentage of the horsepower ratio, going from 240, say if he gained to 249 and loses 50 pounds, that's a big swing.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, I think 50 pounds isn't much. It in fact can be a heck of a lot. Oh, trouble right there. We see a car pulling off as we watch. We ride right there with Brian French. One of the cars having trouble pulling off in the straightaway there. I didn't get the number.
I didn't see it either number-wise, but there's Connor, who's running very fast right now, and he has now completed lap 13, so Connor only needs to keep this up, Calvin, for another 7 laps. He's got a championship.
Well, he does, Greg, and Lee Hagan is looking at the stopwatch right now. Lee, it's been a long 2 weeks here at the Runoffs, and I know today for Larry, it's been very tense. He wanted to change the car during that last hour a number of times.
4 or 5 times. Yeah, we changed wings, we changed just about everything. Springs, it looks like it's working though. Yeah, he's going pretty quick.
How the time's looking? I mean, it's very cold out there. He ran like a 20 in qualifying, 19 in testing, I understand. What's it looking like now?
22.3 is on the watch. So
is that going to be enough?
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's got a 12-second lead, so we're doing good.
He's just cruising, boys, but looking good.
Yeah, 22.3. I mean, just the temperatures themselves are costing 2.5 to 3 seconds in this category, and we've seen that expand in some of the other ones where they don't have the grip that these cars can generate. So now completing lap 14, 6 to go. Connor is closing in.
What is the essence of performance? Speed? Traction? Control? Or is it exceeding your own expectations? The Kumho Extra Supra 712. World-class quality and value. Kumho. Way to go.
He's been voted the most powerful on-air personality in sports. He's larger than life. He sparked a passion taking the country by storm. And the Sporting News says he's generated more buzz than Oprah Winfrey and Larry King. He's arguably the hippest, freshest, funniest sports talker working today.
You're underpaid. There's no question about that.
That is some serious smack. Jim Rome, The Last Word. Weeknights at 6:30 and 11:30 on Fox Sports Net. Welcome to the jungle.
There's a company that wants to approve you for a new Visa card. Whether it's Visa Classic to build or rebuild your credit, the prestige of Visa Gold with an even higher credit line, or the purchasing power of Visa Platinum, the only card you'll ever need. The company is Providian, one of the top issuers of Visa cards in the world with over 14 million customers. Whether it's Classic, Gold, or Platinum, call now and apply right over the phone. Providian will work hard to give you the card that's right for you. Visa from Providian. We approve.
Tonight, get the inside line from Speed Vision News. Then Kenny Roberts leads the charge to Brazil. And go back to school with Audi's training course. That's Speed Vision News Race Week at 7:30 Eastern, MotoGP at 8, and Motor Vision at 11.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio, everybody, as we're closing in on the last 5 laps, about to wrap up this year 2000 Valvoline Runoffs. Mr. Connor continues to lead very strongly. Now, you know, we've been talking about the great job and the terrible conditions that our pit folks have been doing. Calvin Fish, John Bizignano, Sandy Hang. It's been awesome, but you're not getting these pictures and you're not getting all of this action from people sitting inside either. The camera crews that Speed Vision has put together for this event, as well as the RF people, those are the people that take care of those onboards. They're outside working with the pit staff, putting those cameras on the cars. There's Tess. Now, she's probably the smartest of the bunch because she grabbed a couple of the baked potatoes from the hot locker before she went out there, threw them in her pockets to keep her hands warm. Quick thinking for Tess there. That's Gunther. Big wave from Gunther up there, boy. It is cold, folks, and they've been up there for hours. Look at Chuck. Look at the height he's dealing with up there in the breeze. Doing a great job, and of course those guys so dedicated and more concerned about protecting the cameras. That's Ron. Thank you, Ron. Incredible job from Ron. We appreciate it. Keep the tour going. That's Kevin. He's the tech manager. He's outside because that's where the radio works best. And he's got to be able to respond to any hassles in a hurry and fix it. So, boy, that is a cold person operating a camera right there. Thanks very much. An absolutely great job as always. And keeping those cameras wrapped to keep the warmth.
Greg, let me tell you something. Those glorified deer stands are cold. I shot my Open from up there the other day. It was solid ice up there.
I believe that.
I wasn't a happy guy.
Well, you're inside where it's warm and you're at your best.
I'm a little better now. I'm still too cold. I'm going to Florida.
There comes Connor, and he is going by. It's an interesting story, that number 31 car he passed right there. And that's Gary Machiko, who I mentioned earlier, out of the Northeastern Division. That is an old Ralt RT5. That's a Super V that is allowed to run in club racing in the Atlantic category. He's been very competitive as well. But there's our current top 5 with 3 to go.
I like new things, especially when they get old.
Like keeping things around? Good news. Introducing Valvoline Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines. Max Life conditions use seals to help prevent leaks and helps keep your high mileage engine performing for a long, long time.
Son, another 100,000 miles and this baby will be yours.
When was the last time you spent 10 hours trying to do your job 1 second faster?
Hold your brake. Reset your fuel. Go, go, go. Good job, Royal.
Brace yourself for the dawn of the undead as the Lost Drive-In goes ghoulish in October.
Something's wrong here.
Every Saturday night, try to live through one petrifying Lost Drive-In after another as Speed Vision carries you off to the dark side.
Looks like a nightmare factory.
What the hell's going on around here anyway?
There's no place to run. There's no place to hide.
No, I promise you I won't go out.
So grab a friend and get ready to scream. This Saturday night, it's Ghost of Drag Strip Hollow, 11 Eastern, 12 Pacific.
Today's live coverage of the final day of SCCA's Valvoline Runoffs has been presented by Valvoline Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines. And it's also being brought to you by Toyota. More choices, better selection. Experience Toyota today. You know, there's a great story that's building. Certainly Connor on his way to the win. But another story that's developing is the one for number 26, Dave Vandenberg, out of Sioux Center, Iowa, and the Vandenberg Scales, Rice Lake Weighing, Ralt. That's an old RT4. He has done extensive modifications, including one, putting a Mazda engine in it, two, strengthening it with that roll cage door. See, very unique sprint car looking roll cage. I talked to him earlier. He had big problems in qualifying. They were going through oil in that engine, that Mazda rotary engine, like crazy. They finally figured it out. He said the car's quicker than an 11th qualifying. He's up to to 6th in a great drive.
Doing a real good job. And RT4 is one of the very first ground effects cars after the flat bottom one I was talking about. That car is dated, believe me, nowhere near as quick as these other guys. He locks the right front up, and he's doing a great job. Last lap for this man.
Larry Connor, what a great run he's put in. Congratulations, by the way, to Vandenberg. That is just an unbelievable drive in that car. But Connor, last time out of the keyhole, and he has got an absolutely unbelievable run going.
Yeah, there's nobody going to touch. That car is on a rail. The setup they did, the springs and so forth, you heard his crew chief talking about with Cal, they nailed it. They got it right on the money. Car's doing everything perfect.
That makes it very comfortable for the driver, doesn't it? When you are extremely confident in the car, you can do everything just a little bit more committed.
You see him right there. I mean, he's just from the outside of the racetrack to the inside, he's got it wired.
Connor coming around now out of the S's up into madness, making the run toward that wonderful turn 11. Even in these cars, you can break them loose and drive them a little bit, but he has no need. Boy, he is just cruise mode right now as he comes back. Now, we want to remind you that almost as soon as we get the checker here, we have to leave because the NHRA AutoZone Nationals are coming up from Memphis right after we're done. So we wanted to give you a warning of that, and so be prepared for it. Here he comes. Connor onto the front straight, slows down, celebrates his national championship right there. Brian French looks good for second. A great drive by 84 Chris Kaiser to third. Great drives all. 480 total laps, 224 races, 10,090 miles for our 24 national champions. For Dorsey Schrader, Calvin Fish, John Bizignano, Sandy Hank, I am Greg Creamer. Thanks to Speed Vision Productions and a great crew. Thanks to everybody for joining us. Enjoy the drag races from Memphis next.
October 7th, 2000, Memphis, Tennessee. For Tony Schumacher, a ride he would not soon forget. Longtime NHRA driver Mike Dunn is alongside. Take us through this wild, savage ride.
Boy, this is a wild ride. Tony here, everything looks pretty good, nice and easy, perfect Tony Schumacher run. The wing comes off, disrupts the back end, drives the car right into the wall. From that point, the car goes over the wall, starts coming apart, and Tony's just hanging on for dear life right now. Just unbelievable accident.
The car doing exactly what it was built and designed to do.
That's exactly right. It was basically built to break away so the driver compartment stayed in one piece, and the flying debris like the engine and stuff went away from the other. As we see on another shot here, we'll see the wing come off, and what it looks like here, Eli, is as it does, it unloads that right tire, plants the left tire, which actually drives the car into the wall. Tony at this point has nothing he can do except pull the parachute, which he does to get out. Here we see the wing come flying back down and hitting the ground. You know, this is just an unbelievable crash. We'll see here on the in-car camera. I think we'll be able to see a little bit better as he leaves the starting line and goes down the track. Normal Tony Schumacher, Dan Olson run. The car was running good. Looked like it was going to run a 450. When it gets down track here about 1,000-foot mark, we're going to see the car get disrupted when the wing comes off. And what happens is you'll see the left tire start smoking. The right tire is going to actually unload. It's going to drive that left wheel down, and you see the tire smoke coming off there, and it drives the car right into the wall. Tony has nothing he can do right there.
Moments later, Schumacher airlifted to a local hospital where reports indicate remarkably nothing more than a broken leg. A very lucky man.